In recent weeks, the Reform Party has not only seen defections from former Tory MP Andrew Jenkins and former Tory strategist Tim Montgomery, but today it emerged the property tycoon and billionaire Nick Candy defected from the Tories to Reform too, becoming its treasurer. And of course, all this comes as Reform has overtaken the Labour Party in the polls, firmly in second place behind the Tories. The vote in a two-party system is split three ways. Today, a new poll for Conservative Home has shown 7 in 10 Conservative Party members think Reform poses the biggest challenge to the Tories at the next election. Well, Vox Populi Vox Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God, and the people, as so often, are right. Reform poses a serious conundrum for the Tory party. With a mere 121 seats in the House of Commons, the Conservatives cannot afford to have a split right-of-centre vote at the next election. Yet this need not be so. Most Tory party members share.
The British economy is rapidly falling. Taxes are weighing on businesses, debts are spiraling out of control, and jobs are disappearing. Starmer's politics have led to this mess, but he doesn't want you to know that. What is his decision? To rig the next election. We are going to expose his desperate plan to stay in power, starting with the cancellation of voter ID cards and ending with the cancellation of local elections. Let's discuss the economic disaster that Starmer is trying to hide. The situation is critical, and the reality is worse than we are being told. What is really happening to the British economy under Starmer? The picture is disappointing. Businesses are facing serious difficulties. Taxes put pressure on small businesses from all sides. We are talking about a £25 billion increase in public insurance, which is a huge blow that threatens jobs. Experts warn of a possible reduction of 100,000 jobs.
The concerns and values of those in Reform. There was a failure to govern as Conservatives, which Kemi Badenoch has admitted to. So, to win back voters, the Tory party, lo and behold, needs to be Conservative again. This could open the way for some form of cooperation between the two parties. If each fights the other, then the left could win, and the first 5 months of a Labour government show quite how undesirable that is. Reform will not want to do a deal with the soggy left-leaning establishment Tory party that accepts the status quo. If it does a deal with anyone, it will be with a party that stands up for our share.
That's 100,000 people who could be out of work due to Starmer's inability to handle the situation. Our national debt is spiraling out of control. Starmer spends money, but where does it go? The Office for Budget Responsibility says that even if Labour spends an additional £70 billion, the economy will grow as slowly as ever. All that money goes nowhere. Jobs disappear faster than ice cream on a hot day. Problems are experienced not only by small companies, but also by large ones. What are the prospects for next year? They're gloomy. People are careful about their finances, and who can blame them? Starmer tries to convince us that everything is fine by referring to individual statistics and ignoring the big picture. It's like he's living in another reality. He keeps talking about growth, but where is he? His policies are backfiring, creating a toxic business environment.
Conservative values. Fundamentally, the ambitions of the two parties are the same. Both parties want dramatically to decrease migration, to exercise our newfound sovereignty in a post-Brexit Britain, to align more closely with the US over the EU, to cut the size of the state, reduce taxes, and unleash our latent growth. If the two parties remain divided, the danger of the Labour supermajority remains. But if we work together, according to current polling, the Reverend Keir Starmer's Labour Party could be destroyed in 5 years.
Real people are suffering. Families who are barely making ends meet, small business owners who don't sleep at night thinking about possible layoffs, and young people facing a deteriorating labour market situation. Starmer's policies have led to an economic nightmare. He creates tax problems at every turn. And for what? Where is the plan for economic growth? Where is the strategy that could change the situation for the better? There is none of this. Now he's desperately trying to hide the truth from you. Why? He knows that if people see the real state of the economy, his days will be numbered. He's trying to distract our attention, hoping that we won't notice how his board is sinking. But we're not buying it. We see what's going on.
I've gone to Spain, as you know, and I won't be coming back. I will not be coming back when Labour are in power and with their stupid, idiotic tax laws. None of them have got a day's work in between them. We're just going from bad to worse, and somebody needs to speak up and put a stop to these idiots, if I'm being honest.
We feel it for ourselves, in each of our wallets and in our communities. The economy is rapidly falling, and Starmer, while in power, continues to make disastrous decisions. What awaits us next? That's where the most disturbing part begins. Starmer realizes that his position is extremely precarious. He is in a panic, looking for any way out of this abyss. That's why he's preparing something big that can change everything. Desperate people commit desperate acts, and his economic plan is a complete disaster. But this is only the beginning of his dark designs. What is he up to this time? It seems that he is developing a clever plan to stay in power, and this is shocking to the core. Starmer starts with small steps, but as we delve deeper into his plans, they become more ambitious and cause more concern. First, he wants to repeal the laws on voter ID cards, which were introduced to protect the integrity of elections. He is trying to get rid of these laws, and this is puzzling.
This has got nothing to do with racism. I'm a black woman. I will be voting for Keir Starmer. He has turned the party round and made it electable again. These people, on this faction on the left, they use colour all the time. It's identity politics. And it's the reason why the Tories always win. Because they know that these useful idiots on the left will use colour every single time they don't get what they want, or they're not treated a certain way they want to be treated. Diane Abbott has said things that are very, very toxic, not just about Jews, about other people as well. So whenever people keep coming on the radio and saying, oh, well, this person said that person said that, she's got a track record. As far as I know, these people haven't.
This idea comes from the Labour Party's think tank, the Institute for Public Policy Research, which is closely associated with the party and often shapes its policies. They claim that we are at a critical stage when elections may lose legitimacy, and they propose to abolish the requirements for photo identification. This is a strange and dangerous step, especially considering that in most European countries, an identity card is required to vote. Why is Starmer so adamantly opposed to this practice? But this is just the beginning. Starmer plans to make even more drastic changes to the voting rules. They are talking about the possibility of granting the right to vote to foreign citizens. We are talking about millions of people who are not British citizens who can get a say in the governance of our country. Deputy Prime Minister Rachel Reeves has already hinted at the need to grant voting rights and verify voter documents. This is a serious departure from the practice of most democratic countries and a threat to our national identity. And that's where things get really disturbing. Local elections? Yes, Starmer is also trying to undo some of them. Nigel Farage claims that the Labour Party wants to reorganise local government, which could mean suspending elections in areas where other parties are gaining strength. It looks like Starmer's attempt to rewrite the rules in order to stay in Downing Street at all costs.
They're always a threat, the Labour Party are. They're a threat to this country, Mark. Look, I listened to Rachel early on. Unfortunately, I didn't listen to Keir's speech earlier on. But he thinks it's in the bag. He's getting a little bit cocky, he's a little bit smug, and he's taking the British public for granted at the moment. There was no substance in there. My colleagues have told me today. I was looking at the press snippets after his speech. Nothing in there of any substance at all.
1.5 million homes, tech colleges for young people to get skills.
Well, look, I mean, this is a cut and paste of what Michael Gove was saying back in July, on July the 24th.
Green Revolution?
Yeah, I mean, Gove and our government was saying this back in July. It's a cut and paste. He's got no new ideas. The British public, I knock doors every week, Mark, in Ashfield, and they say they are grumpy with the Conservative Party, obviously, after 13 years. But there's no love for Starmer at all. They're not rushing back to vote for Labour.
After all this economic chaos, one would have thought that Starmer would focus on rebuilding the country. Critics call this a shameless attempt by Labour to rig the election in its favour, undermining the integrity of our electoral process. All these actions, the cancellation of voter IDs, the permission for foreign citizens to vote, the cancellation of local elections, are not aimed at simplifying or fair voting. This is an attempt to consolidate power, and Starmer is doing everything possible to keep his position, even if it undermines the foundations of our democracy. Why is he so desperate to change the rules? The answer is obvious. He knows that if people have an honest chance to express their opinions, he will lose power. His economic policy has led to disaster, the country is in chaos, and instead of admitting this and trying to fix the situation, he is trying to change the rules so as not to lose. This is not a game. This is our country, our democracy, our future, and Starmer is risking it all. Are you ready to hear the shocking truth about our National Health Service? See you later.